Hello, I'm Yoko, and welcome back to year 24 of GalaxyClan, and Happy New Year! I played this year before my computer crashed, so it isn't the most recent update, but year 25 will be. That said, everything is recoded and up to date thanks to people on the Discord, so for now, I played this year in October, which means some of the Halloween-themed special events will actually be in this video later. But on a less fun note, this year is painful. You'll see as we get into it, but this year hit hard, and I joked that my computer died to try to prevent it from coming out. So with all that said, let's get into StarClan to start to see why this year is bad. Also, some of these cats are out of order, so I could keep them next to their families in StarClan, so just keep that in mind. And we're sadly starting with the newly named Juniper Fur. At 12 moons old, she was given her name and honored for her wit. Shammy had sat with pride and was looking forward to the warrior she would become. She then found some cardinal feathers and decided to keep them. And then she was found dead on the Viper Clan border, with no answer of what happened. This all happened on the same time skip in-game and was all one after another on the list of events. So Juniper Fur was murdered, and obviously the first suspect was someone in Viper Clan, so this made tensions very high. But yeah, we started the year with the first death being a murder. And speaking of the out-of-order deaths, Gecko Dart actually died on the last moon of the year, but I'm drawing him here of his daughter. He died at 58 moons old during a massive green cough outbreak, which just destroyed the clan. You'll see how badly as we go on. But he had been on patrol of his daughter Horizon, the moon that Juniper Fur died, and with details that you'll hear later, he actually invited a new medicine cat to join, along with her 5 kits. And then he got one of those kits as an apprentice, who he did well with. He was staring off into space one moon when something big happened, but it kind of affected him a lot. It shook him up a lot because just a lot of things basically changed with his life. And on a patrol, he ran into a pumpkin, which he was very confused about, but Swansong instructed the patrol to kick dirt into it to put out the fire. And it's really funny that this happened because he and Jackdaw Slash had one kit this year, and sneak peek for later, you guys blindly voted to name her Pumpkin Kit, so I guess she was named after that moment. The moon before he died, he was lightening the moon with shenanigans, and I'm going to miss the silly boy. He was so proud of his family, it seemed, and yeah. But moving on. Back in time again, sadly the next death is Hop, who died at 74 moons old. Earlier, he had taken a clanmate to a beautiful spot just for fun, and I wonder who it was with, if it wasn't one of his family members. He had been feeling content with the little things in life, and later caught Adderstripe eating prey on patrol, reporting her, and she obviously didn't like that. And then Hop died while attempting to save a drowning clanmate that had fallen into a river. And we'll get into who that was later, because sadly they did both drown. But yeah, he was just trying to be a good cat, and I'm so sad, but this is just the start because newly named Cypress Bramble also died at only 16 moons old, and he was a den builder. He was asking Blizzard Chime for more training, possibly because he was insecure. His sister somehow had already been named a warrior before him, and he was daydreaming about making his clan proud. He was honored for his bravery at his ceremony and graduated at 14 moons old. And then, the moon after Hop died, Cypress Bramble was murdered, and I'm not even going to hide who did it because blood warning in 3, 2, 1. Adderstripe straight up killed him, standing over him with blood just dripping from her pelt. And the picture is gone now. He'd always been critical of her, and Hop had recently got her in trouble, but this was horrible. And you'll see what happened after this later. But with Hop and Cypress Bramble dead, the Hop biological bloodline is also dead. But so is his family tree in general because newly named Bounce Blur also died this year at 20 moons old. She was an incredible runner and a lore keeper and was named for her wisdom. She wanted to spend time alone one moon and had a very cold encounter with a Moss Clan patrol. Later she reassured an apprentice that was nervous to patrol, and then she helped the new medicine cat gather herbs with her close friend Horizon. The death of Hop and Cypress Bramble affected her deeply, and she was hanging out with her dad Roostertail a lot. But on one patrol, she was alone when, blood warning in 3, 2, 1, she ran into a small dog just like Micah Shatter, and she ended up killing it. But sadly, she could not survive her injuries, and the picture is gone now. I am so sad. We'll get to him later, but Roostertail just lost his entire family this year, and that's horrible. The entire Rooster Hop bloodline is just dead now. Going back in time, Shammy died at 122 moons old, and I'll say now that she was the cat that Hop failed to save from drowning when they fell into a river. As I said earlier, she was so proud of Juniper Fur, and I am devastated she died immediately after getting her name. But Shammy did have something positive before dying this year. because she ran around with her mate Stone Star, feeling wild and free and like she was going to burst with unexpected happiness, despite both the cats' ages, and she pounced on Stone Star, starting a play fight. And I just found these two old ladies having fun just to be so cute. I imagine now that she's in StarClan, she has met Stone Star's past mates, and I hope they're all getting along. But sadly, speaking of Stone Star, we lost her. She died at 144 moons old, and she had a very stressful year outside of that one cute date she had. She started the year by making a solemn vow to protect her clanmates, so I really didn't think she had any retirement plans. And then she lost a life to rogues. She was concerned with two legs after clanmates were stolen, and she had to deal with two of her cats getting murdered. One being her granddaughter, who was presumably killed by a clan we were allies with. But when Cypress Bramble was murdered, it was immediately made clear, after some stuff we'll get to, that Adderstripe was the killer. And she might have even killed Juniper Fur too. And Stone Star had to make the painful decision, as leader, to exile her own daughter that had broke her heart. And then the very next moon, she was buried alive in a landslide, losing all her remaining lives. And what do you mean Stone Star was killed by falling rubble, dirt, stones? That is horrible. I feel so bad for her. The last thing she had to do as leader, really, was face the horrible actions her own daughter did. Stone Star deserves the rest and to relax in StarClan with just all of her mates in a giant cuddle pile, along with her kids. But with that said, we have a new leader, and I'll do the leadership ceremony after I do the StarClan section. But know that any cats after this point died after Stone Star did and would not be available for a 9 Lives ceremony. EP Steep sadly died at 155 moons old, and she was actually snoring loudly in her sleep at one point, which was very fitting for her name. But she was feeling restless this year and argued with Stargazer at one point, having a mediator smooth it over. She wanted to get to know Adderstripe, and then the next moon her status was that she wasn't afraid of her past, so I think Adderstripe may have said something mean to her. EP Steep went missing from the clan and was found dead on the territory, having died of old age. Rest in peace, my cranky old lady. And next up is sadly Chris Drizzle, who died at 66 moons old, and he did actually seek out help from the Mediators in regards to him and Echo Whisper, and he did genuinely seem to care about her and her well-being and tried to be a good mate. But they did end up breaking up, and now I need to reveal that I accidentally double time skipped at one point, saved, and didn't realize I double time skipped. So I don't exactly know what happened when they did break up, but I did check their relations towards each other, and they didn't hate each other, so I'm assuming it was a mutual decision when they realized it just wasn't working between them. Beyond her, he was worried about Bounce Blower after Cypress Bramble's murder, and then he was out alone when he froze seeing a two-leg. But that two-leg had big black wings, which had hypnotic glowing red eyes, and he turned and ran, feeling the air ruffle his fur as he escaped home, with not even a breath wasted in wailing. Yeah, Chris Drizzle ran into the Mothman during the Halloween events in-game. And fun fact, I made this sticker for Butterfly Paw before I knew about the Mothman Patrol or what the art looked like. So now I'm wondering if I accidentally made the Mothman connected to Butterfly Paw with the hypnosis stuff I have going on. But moving on, Chris Drizzle actually died when he was outnumbered and killed by rogues. And I will miss him. He did still seem to like Rainbow Flare, but they seem to be drastically out of reach this year. And in the end, Chris Drizzle only had a short relationship with Echo Whisper, which, speaking of, she also died this year at 52 moons old during the major green cough outbreak. Like I said, I don't think Chris Drizzle hurt her at all, but I think she was kind of more wanting comfort than a true mate at the moment, and possibly was even trying to rush into it knowing her mom liked big families, maybe that would make her happy. Again, they broke up in the end, but she was mostly pretty chill this year, at least as much as she could be. She was patient when crossing a thunder path, making sure it was completely clear, and she wanted to speak to Ice Dash after Chris Drizzle's death, so it did seem to affect her. She got advice from the new medicine cat, and then she had a good conversation with Moss Clan when she was out with Rowancaw just 2 moons before her death. And with her gone, Oriole Chirp's biological bloodline is now dead as well. Rowancaw is still here for the family tree, but the Pinkie Pie traits are no more. And I'm gonna miss her. She was a really sweet cat. Next up is that new medicine cat I kept talking about. Her name was Alcyone, and she died at 56 moons old, and she was a bold former rogue with steady paws, who joined the clan with her 5 kits, who were almost apprentice age. And of course it was 5 kits. It's been a while since we had that. I almost missed it. She joined after seeing Horizon having a seizure and checking in to see if Gecko Dart needed any help with her. She later got help from Horizon and Bounce Blur, collecting Bethany, and she wanted to see if she could borrow catmint from the other clans for reasons that later became obvious with how many cats died of green cough. She also seemed desperate enough because she had the status of deciding to try a new herb to try to treat something. And she also died of green cough, but she died 1 moon before most of the clan did, with only one other cat dying that moon to green cough as well. And I'll point out who it was later, but of her 5 kits, sadly 1 died. The 14-moon-old Brave Hal, who was adventurous and confident with words. She was a charming kit and a cunning app who excitedly touched noses with Jackdaw Slash when she was apprenticed. But the two had a very standoffish and cold first patrol where Jackdaw Slash was hostile to Viper Clan, since her daughter was found dead on their border just the moon before. Bravepaw later shoved her face in some soft dew meadow grass, with Jackdaw Slash flicking her tail under her chin to make her look up to see a male hummingbird with beautiful plumage. She was lectured on the warrior code, but then offered support when she mentioned having strange dreams. And she was upset on a patrol, but shut down Jackdaw Slash when she tried to ask if she could help or if she wanted to talk, with Bravepaw muttering a request to stay focused on training. And Bravepaw was basically being angsty because Jackdaw Slash had announced she was expecting, and Bravepaw was feeling like she wouldn't be trained as well. In rebellion, she actually went to go try to join Viper Clan, but they turned her back to not sully relations more. She was honored for her risk-taking when named, and then died in the massive green cough outbreak at the end of the year. I'm sad to lose her. She was really interesting, and I loved her name. But I am so sad to lose Cragskill at 59 moons old. He didn't have enough horsetail to share with Moss Clan early in the year, and then he was feeling sassy. He actually was proud of his ability to care for his clanmates, and then he finally got help with Alcyone joining. And I will say he got one of her kits as an apprentice, so GalaxyClan isn't completely without any healers right now. Cragskill had the status that he did not doubt himself while treating a cat, and that was on the same moon that Cypress Bramble was murdered, so I rolled, and Cragskill found evidence that Adderstripe was the killer on the body, and immediately went to go tell Stone Star the painful news. And he was the other cat that died with Alcyone to Greencough the moon before everyone else did, and the fact that both the adult medicine cats died to the sickness just makes me hurt because they were doing their best to prioritize the others and try to heal them. And I'm so upset because this is possibly the darkest thing to ever happen in GalaxyClan, but on the same moon that Cragskill died, just above it, it said that he announced that he was expecting kits. So that is really painful. I was hoping this would never happen in the series. But yeah, I feel so bad for Pete Main, especially because the newly named Redberry also died to Greencough at 17 moons old. He was a confident campkeeper with natural intuition, and Redpaw was apprenticed to Rowancaw, and they found a badger set on their first patrol, which Rowancaw was extremely panicked over, having them put loose rocks in front of it to see if a badger would move them. He later was almost caught stealing a rabbit from J-Clan, and he was named during that moon that I accidentally skipped, and I never actually checked his summary to see what he was named for during a ceremony, so I don't know that. And I'm so sad he died because he found mysterious forget-me-nots in the snow, and that just made me think of his sister Whistlecit and all the other Lavender Heather line cats that died in the snow. And speaking of lines, with both him and Cragskill dead, the Whisperies line has died out. We are just losing so many this year. And Marsh died at 114 moons old, so his bloodline's gone too. He had been seen calmly talking to a loner and was considering bending the rules, just this once. Again, apparently. He was giving an apprentice advice, and he tried to take on the lion's share of leading a dog away, but his strength failed him and he needed to be saved by the young cat that was on patrol with him. And once again, he also died to Greencough. I do think Marsh tried his best to fit in with clan life, but he just never seemed to have the skills to. But I'm sad to see him go. And I'm so sad at the newly named Stemglare's death. It pained me so much. He died at 22 moons old and was a cold cat who was a good mediator with a natural intuition and was named for his dignity. And he was the cat that actually had to save Marsh from that dog. He noticed his clanmates were nervous around him lately, and then he was seen touching noses with Kitty Pet, so he went to visit his parents. He got to train with his mom, and then he was hissing in frustration after some things went bad with Pebblejoy again. But sneak peek, Wishkeeper has kits this year, and Stemglare was hanging out with his uncle's kids, giving one a badger ride and being begged by more to do the same. It was adorable. He went out alone to think about his life and if he was doing a good job of pursuing what was important to him, but his thoughts were plagued with bad memories and he ended up spiraling, unable to reflect constructively, which drove himself just to misery and despair. And then he just died of Greencough. Stemglare's story was really cut so short, and I'm so sad he died. GalaxyClan does no resets or anything, so sadly we live with what the RNG has given us. But I'm so sad. I really wanted him to do great things. Next up is sadly Diva Pond, who died at 37 moons old. She was seen talking to a loner, and her fighting techniques were complimented by Adderstripe of all cats, despite Adderstripe not liking her. And she saw a motionless two-leg on patrol with another cat, which turned out to be a scarecrow, but they didn't know what that was, so they just reported it to the leader. And she didn't die to green cough, she was buried on patrol of the moon before everyone else died to green cough. It seems we were just having a lot of landslides / loose earth or rocks this year. But yeah, rest in peace, Diva Pond. And lastly in StarClan, I am so sad to say Broken Stream died at 45 moons old, along with 2 of his kits. The Bossy Brown kit, who splashed in puddles, and the Bossy Alpaca kit, who was a lover of stories, who died at only 4 moons old. Again, all of them were to green cough. For something cute, before he died, he tripped while training with Wishkeeper, who had the thought, and I quote, "Their mate is so dumb and they love them for it," with Wishkeeper going to pick him up from where his silly game left him sprawled on the ground, joining with his laughter. But the 2 later decided to have a litter, and I rolled if the surrogate was related to Broken Stream, since he has outside connections. And the surrogate ended up being an older sister of Broken Stream outside the clan named Loaf, who I have coded in to be alive, so she may join one day. But the kits were able to roll traits from both their bloodlines because of this. And reminder, Broken Stream is related to Spam, so her traits had a chance to pop up. That being said, they had the first ever 6 kitten litter in GalaxyClan history. And they were all boys. Which reminds me of Fuzzy Flake always having all girls and then all boys until Ice Dash later came out. So I just think this is a fun little pattern that's happening. I wonder if any of these kids will come out in the future. But yeah, I was screaming at 6 of them. They really had their paws full, and Wishkeeper isn't doing the best without him now. As for Brown Kit, he had been annoying older cats and wanted to be leader, so every cat would listen. And Alpaca Kit was just asking older cats how kits were made constantly. I'm so sad they died, but they were the final cats in StarClan, so the mass death is finally over. And let's go back in time to see what the leadership ceremony was. Cragscale led Rainbow Flare to the leader's den, instructing them to lay down and touch their nose to the stone. Rainbow Flare was nervous as they did so, opening their eyes to the starry view and sense of familiar cats. The first cat to walk up was Ghost Snow, the deputy before them. He reassured Rainbow Flare that they don't have to be just like him or Stone Star, they just have to be them. And he gave them a life for faith. Next was Silver Whistle, walking up peacefully and giving Rainbow Flare a life for tranquility. Micah Shatter was next, smiling at her former apprentice. She gently leaned and gave them a life for compassion, reassuring them that she's proud. Frostliken cautiously stepped forward, thanking Rainbow Flare for helping him out of the dark forest. He gave a life for offering second chances, saying they needed the ability to know who deserved it. Branch Deer walked up next, a proud smile on his face. He gave a life for mentoring the youth of the clan, telling Rainbow Flare to guide them well. Branch Deer looked over, revealing Snake Eye next. She smiled, so proud of her child. She looked determined as she gave a life for justice. There will be times when they will be faced with tough foes, and they must be prepared. She looked over to her mate, Firefog, smiling at his kid. He said he always knew Rainbow Flare was destined for greatness, and he gave them a life for a parent's love. Rainbow Flare's nose twitched as StarClan's scent twisted a bit, and the StarClan cats guided them to turn around, where Ospreyclaw was standing behind the border. She said she has been granted the permission to give Rainbow Flare a life if they'll allow it. Rainbow Flare walked over to where she was unable to pass, and she gave them a life for judgment, saying their powers of dreamwalking can be powerful, especially with the evolution Rainbow Flares had gone through. But they must have the judgment to not misuse them. Stepping back over the border, Rainbow Flare was faced with Stone Star smiling at them, looking much younger but still so motherly as she always had been to her clan. She gave them a life for endurance in the face of hardship. Stone Star hails Rainbow Flare by their new name, Rainbow Star, telling them their old life is no more. They are granted guardianship of GalaxyClan and are told to use their new power wisely. The Starry Cats yowling Rainbow Star's name in support. So yeah, we have the 64-moon-old Rainbow Star now, who is our first trans leader as well as our first leader with an accessory somehow. I have no idea how we went through that many leaders and none of them got something to wear. And as for how they were doing as deputy before leadership, not the best. They couldn't believe they overslept on a day that apprentices were being named. And then they were talking to themselves, and then boom, leader now. They were trying to think about things to say at gatherings, and then Chris Drizzle was killed by rogues, and despite everything, that did still hurt. They used to be such good friends. Rainbow Star then chased a rogue out the next moon, and then Stemglare died, who was their apprentice, so that hurt. And I'm just gonna say right now that Rainbow Star picked Jackdaw Slash as deputy, but she's not gonna be drawn next in the lineup because she's announced that she was expecting kits on the same moon she became deputy, presumably after Rainbow Star promoted her, so their deputy has just been busy in the nursery. And Rainbow Star also lost 2 medicine cats at the same time, leaving an apprentice as the clan's only healer. So let's go meet her. Meet Chestnut Paw, the 14-moon-old bloodthirsty, quick-witted medicine cat apprentice with no current mentor. She was one of Alcyone's kits, and it seems she wanted to follow in her mom's paw steps of healing. But extremely concerningly, she apparently became an apprentice to gain access to life-saving herbs, as well as life-threatening poisons. She was apprenticed to Cragscale, and they had a peaceful afternoon collecting time on their first patrol. Chestnut Paw then had the wonder of why we waste herbs on elders, and that was concerning. But I do know that we seem to be lacking important herbs this year in general. And with that said, Flame Bear was whispering lies in her ear, and I don't think she likes him, but I think he's trying to make her his apprentice. I don't think the mass sickness deaths were from poisoning or anything. I mean, her mom and sister, who she loved, died, and after all the death, she finally found Catmint and seemed really relieved knowing that it would help protect the clan. So I think she's good, but I'll keep an eye on her. Bloodthirsty doesn't mean evil, but we'll see. She also rolled to have POTS, which is this disorder I will put up on screen. And in research, it can develop after illness, so I'm saying she developed this after she herself got sick during all of this. So she is now learning how to deal with symptoms like possible dizziness, brief fainting spells, forgetfulness, chest pain, headaches, and exhaustion, all as the only medicine cat in the clan who hasn't even finished her training. Good luck, Chestnut Paw, please don't end up evil. But moving on to our mediators. Ice Dash is now 56 moons old, and she traveled to J-Clan for border disputes, but made no progress. She was eavesdropping on Swan Song on a moon that he was visibly stressed, and helped him out with some stuff. Those two are really close now, it's cute. She also gave some counseling to Echo Whisper and Chris Drizzle, and she helped her brother Wishkeeper decide if he wanted kits. And now she is actually mostly hanging out in the nursery because Wishkeeper is very overwhelmed with the loss of his mate and 2 kids while still having 4 of them. So she's kind of being a step-in aunt kind of mom situation, helping parent the kids of her brother. She also wanted to check on Peatmane after the death of Cragscale, and she traveled to Mossclan for some recent personal disputes. Overall, she's been very busy, and she's doing her best to help everyone. Which is a good thing she has help, because newly named 21-moon-old Minnow Spirit is here, who I imagine Ice Dash named after Thunder Spirit. He is charismatic and a great climber, and I was screaming because his text for graduating literally said, he took to mediator training like a fish to water, and that's great considering his name. He was named at 10 moons old, and he was fixing arguments with the elders, and was attempting to mediate with ViperClan after his sister was found dead on the border. It seemed he was mostly looking for answers and peace, not really, trying to instigate anything. On the moon, Rainbow Star was promoted. Minnow Spirit was mediating between the senior warriors and the leader over recent decisions, and that might have been about who Rainbow Star decided to make deputy. He also traveled the J-Clan over some recent hunting disputes, but he only made them more angry. To be fair, J-Clan was very busy. Minnow Spirit honestly seems to be pretty level-headed considering his dad died, his aunt was exiled as a murderer and might have killed his sister. He's really doing his best as mediator with all of the chaos around him, and I kinda love him. Moving on to our warriors, our most senior warrior in clan is the 87-moon-old Roostertail, and I'm so sad for him. Let's go in timeline order. He was complimenting Swansong's fighting techniques, who you'll see he was hanging out with a lot. Then he asked Hop for advice on a stupid decision he apparently made. And then Hop died, and he couldn't even grieve for long because Cypress Bramble was murdered the next moon. And he wanted to claw Adderstripe himself, but he just watched in fury as she was exiled. Then he was out with Swansong when they found a kitten that was already hunting with their ancestors, and he was giving Swansong advice that moon. He seemed to start getting better going out with his daughter and catching so much prey, and then lecturing an apprentice on the warrior code. But then he wished he was still sleeping when he got the news that Bounceblur died as well. He lost his entire family. He then sparred with Swansong, and he was promising the kits that he'll protect them when the time comes. I feel so bad for Roostertail. But moving on to his apparently new best friend, Swansong is now 78 moons old, and one of his kits from Mossclan actually joined at 8 moons old, becoming his apprentice. On that same moon, he asked if Bubbling Mark would be his mate, and got rejected. But I'm leaning more towards he was asking if she wanted to help co-parent his kid. since she always seemed to love family and being a family cat in general. He was visibly stressed and worried if he was being a good dad, but Ice Dash helped him out and soothed his worries. As mentioned, it seemed finding a dead kit on patrol affected him a lot, and he's really close with Roostertail now. He threw his head back cheering at his daughter's ceremony, and then he snuck out to visit a StarClan cat, and I'm pretty sure he's just in a poly relationship with Crowfreckle and Hazyflick in StarClan, because those two had 3 more kits this year, with Hazyflick carrying this time. And yeah, those are swan songs too. He has a son named Burnett Kit, and 2 daughters named Green Kit and Frigid Kit. He also has a new daughter in StarClan because Weevil Chomp came out as trans. And then on the last moon of the year, another one of Swan Song's kits from the first litter joined the clan. Overall, he's doing pretty good this year, even with the cross-clan romance thing going on. He kind of seems happier, despite everything. So yeah, I hope he stays having a good time. But next up is Pete Main, who is now 64 moons old, and he lost his entire family too this year. But going back in time, he got an apprentice and cheered her up with goofy faces until they played like kits when she was upset. He escorted the StarClan medicine cat when they asked if they could borrow herbs, but sadly we were short too. He was playing Moss Ball with one of Wishkeeper's kits, and he fought off rogues using the rocky terrain to his advantage. He was doing great until Cragscale and then Redberry died, as well as his litter that would never be born now. He lost so much so fast, and Ice Dash really wanted to check on him to make sure he was okay. And despite everything, he was the mate of a medicine cat, and his mom Scavenger actually had a healing skill too, so he's attempting to help Chestnut Paw finish her training along with the other clan medicine cats. But yeah, I feel really bad for Pete Main. He's just a silly, goofy guy. Can the game just let him relax? Also, I forgot to mention last year that he had frostbite on his foot, so the frostbite is from last year. And next up is Ren Noise, who is 52 moons old, and she was on patrol when we found the pumpkin, and she later chatted with Cragscale about what it was like being a medicine cat. She had another friendly patrol at J-Clan, which is nice. Always like to see her interacting nicely with the clan her brother is in. But towards the end of the year, she seemed to have some tension with the deputy when she refused to follow her orders due to Ren Noise's own morals, and I'm pretty sure that had to do with Ren Noise not hunting a bird on patrol during Leaf Bear when prey was scarce when a bunch of cats were sick. But Ren Noise is sticking to her personal decision and following J-Clan's beliefs that birds are messengers of StarClan and should not be hunted. And while she can look past her clan hunting and eating them, she herself refuses to. Next up is the 46-moon-old Cyndaquil, who was actually mates with Adderstripe until she got exiled. They got together like 2 moons before that. And after checking his relationships, I did see he had a bar of dislike after she was exiled. So I like to think he didn't approve or know of what she did, but we'll see. He took over training an apprentice after their mentor became unavailable and chased out a small dog with them. He then spent most of the year being a genuinely good mentor, it seemed, and he had his chest puffed out in pride when his apprentice was named, considering himself lucky. And lastly, he and Rainbow Star actually have a small crush on each other, and I don't know what to feel about that. I still don't know if he's a good cat that had bad taste in Adderstripe, or if he's secretly bad, so I'm just gonna keep keeping an eye on him. Moving on to Rowancaw, she is 38 moons old, and she had a rough start. She was having a hard day on the moon that she found the badger den with Redpaw. Then StarClan was standoffish and cold to her. Then she only barely prevented Redpaw from stealing a J-Clan rabbit. And then Redberry died, and Echo Whisper died, but she did at least have that one nice patrol of Echo Whisper and StarClan, despite everything. She was also predicting the weather by observing the sky and behavior of prey, so there's that. But yeah, Rowancaw is still struggling. Please just let her be happy, game. I will say that she did also come out on the asexual spectrum this year. Specifically, more so the label graysexual, which basically means she experiences limited intimate attraction, not going into detail. But basically, she can have kits if she wants to later, so we'll see. Next up is Blizzard Chime, who's now 33 moons old, and he was sad about Cypress Bramble, but then Luckshine got kidnapped by Two Legs, and he disappeared for a few days, coming back with a collar, so I think he tried and failed to find her. He hesitantly approached a motionless Two Leg and was confused seeing it was stuffed with hay, again not knowing it was a scarecrow, and then reporting it to the leader. But then he spotted 2 deer laying intertwined and wondered if they were sleeping, but as he crept closer, blood warning for a pick in 3, 2, 1, one raised its head with blood dripping from its lips, and its head just raised higher and higher, and Blizzard Chime shrieked, running away as it chased him and branches tore his pelt. And the picture is gone now. So yeah, Blizzard Chime ran into the Jersey Devil during the Halloween patrols, and I don't know what to make of that in canon. Possibly some kind of dark forest dream while he was awake and patrolling. I don't know, guys. Help me figure that out. The Jersey Devil can't be canon. He was later wondering how Rainbow Star was doing after both the senior medicine cats died, but yeah. Blizzard Chime, I'm so sorry you saw the Jersey Devil. My bad for playing near Halloween. Next is the newly named Horizon Petal, who is lonesome, a den builder, and a formidable fighter. She remained silent at her naming ceremony and was named for her dignity. She walked away to her silent vigil before anyone could congratulate her. And her and Juniper Fur were actually named on the same moon, but timeline-wise, I think Juniper Fur was named, then died, and then Horizon Petal was named, which explains the cold reaction. As mentioned earlier, before that she actually had a seizure, and Alcyone came to see if she needed any help. And she later helped Alcyone gather herbs for her now dead friend Bounceblur. At one point, she flatly insulted a clanmate's appearance, and I'm not sure who that was. Adderstripe was already gone by then. Then she had a standoffish patrol of Viper Clan for obvious reasons, and she was very interestingly loitering around the J-Clan border for a specific cat, so I'm wondering what that was. I will say J-Clan was at war with Viper Clan, so it might be related to that. But yeah, she's been angsty, and for good reason. Her sister, her dad, and pretty much all the cats she shared her apprentice days with died. The only apprentice and or kit from last year that is still alive is Horizon Petal and Minnow Spirit. And that is terrifying. But introducing a new face, meet Fawnfoot, Swansong's daughter. She is 18 moons old, a skilled mediator, and somehow ended up vengeful. She joined right after becoming Moss Clan's apprentice age, which is at 8 moons old. And she snuck out at night after a gathering to go join the clan where, blood warning in 3, 2, 1, she ran into a fox that bit her, but luckily her dad showed up to save her, and the picture is gone now. She was then apprenticed the Swan Song and practiced battling moves a lot. She taunted a Viper Clan patrol, which wasn't very mediator skilled of her, and they left with their tails whipping and their voices bordering on a hiss. Notably, Horizon Petal was on that patrol too, so that probably egged her on. She was honored for her dignity when she was named, and she seems like she takes after young Swan Song a lot. She's sassy and seems a little bit towards the violent side. But at the end of the year, her brother joined the clan too. So meet Sneezetuft, a strict, unusually strong fighter. He spent the year in Moss Clan where he was having a bit of a tough time. His first mentor died in a badger attack, and he was thinking about his life choices. He also shut down when his second mentor asked what was wrong. A certain cat had a dislike for him that, even if it was mostly internal and not acted on, it still made him uneasy in Moss Clan, and they did later take out their insecurities out on him. Throughout the year, we actually kept finding a lost Moss Clan apprentice on our territory and guided them home, so I'm pretty sure that was Sneezepaw and or Weevilpaw sneaking in and visiting their sister. He asked an important question to a faithful cat in Moss Clan, who looked up at the stars wonderingly, and then, while he loved his moms in Moss Clan, he finally decided he wanted to go join Swansong and Fawnfoot in GalaxyClan. But he was bitten by a snake on the way here, so we'll see how that heals up. He just got here, and we'll see how he ends up doing, but I will say he already has a friend, because getting into the rest of Alcyone's kits, starting with the 14-moon-old rebellious Drizzlelight, who is a fish-like swimmer. He was a cunning apprentice given the luck shine, and he ran into Sneezepaw, supposedly lost on his first patrol, guiding him back home. And he actually had this exact same patrol 2 other times, which made me laugh. So I decided him and Sneezetuft are friends, and have coded in some base platonic like for each other after Sneezetuft joined. But back to training. He tried to show off to Luckshine, but was too busy checking if they were watching that he didn't watch his paws and he fell with a comical thump. When Luckshine was lost, his new mentor became Cyndaquil, where he helped him finish his training well. He was honored for his hard work at a ceremony, and also a Viper Clan cat got a mangled leg when hunting a rabbit on our territory. The same moon that Drizzlelight also caught a rabbit, so I think he might have been the one to chase the Viper Clan cat off, but we'll see. On to his sister. Meet the shameless Leopard Spots, who is a masterful storyteller. She was a cold apprentice when she was given to Peatmane, but he really got her to loosen up. They used an eagle as a scout for their hunt on their first patrol out, but later she ran away saying that she would never be a warrior until Peatmane made goofy faces and got her to play like a kit with him, cheering her up. His goofiness really rubbed off on her. She was then giving advice to a kit, and then she fought off rogues with Peatmane. She was named for her boldness at her warrior ceremony, and I'm looking forward to her. And now her other brother, the childish Milkhair, who is a masterful storyteller and a good fighter. He was an arrogant apprentice given the Gecko Dart, and he saw Gecko Dart intimidate a rogue away from a high rock on their first patrol. He wanted to be a fierce warrior, but it seems he got more silly as he aged, as is the case with most of this litter. He pranked a kit who ended up covered in mud, so maybe don't prank the babies. And Rainbow Star wasn't sure he outgrew his childish quirks, but they honored his lightheartedness and tenacity at his warrior ceremony. Honestly, the remaining Alcyone kits all seem like goofballs, except for Chestnut Paw, who she's dealing with a lot, so fair. But yeah, we have no warrior apprentices, so into the Elder's Den, where Stargazer is still here at 167 moons old. An absolute mad lad. He's our only elder, but he's still here. He was visiting the medicine cat den a lot, so I wonder if he's having complications or if he had green cough this year as well. Side note, illnesses and injuries are now in classic mode, so next year I won't have to speculate if cats are sick or not. He argued a bit with Eepy Steep, but seemed to like her. And he was wondering if StarClan had any prophecies recently. But yeah, he's still here and I'm happy. I love this wise old man. But into the nursery. 56 moon old Wishkeeper is here with his 4 remaining sons. All 4 moons old, there is the Bossy Silk Kit, who is a careful listener, the Unruly Gorse Kit, who is quick to help, the Skittish Fickle Kit, who's confident with words, and the Skittish Bumble Kit, who's also quick to help. And Bumble Kit rolled to have Bumble Kit rolled to be born autistic like Wishkeeper. And we'll be watching to see how it expresses specifically for him. He woke up with a headache, but also wished others would stop babying him. The crowded nursery of rowdy kits seems to just bug him, and Wishkeeper takes him and Fickle Kit, the other calmer kit, out for some quiet time when he can. Bumble Kit has times where he gets overwhelmed and goes nonverbal, so Wishkeeper is helping teach him the clan's sign language system. As for the other kits, Fickle Kit was whimpering in his sleep, and that was the moon that Broken Stream, Alpaca Kit, and Brown Kit died. Gorse Kit got a badger ride from Stemglare, and was the kit that got pranked by Milkpaw, getting covered in mud. He also had plans to annoy an elder, which would be Stargazer, and Silk Kit was playing with cardinal feathers, deciding to keep them. He got in trouble for trying to order cats around, and was later telling Rainbow Star to play with him. As for Wishkeeper, he's struggling. He's been leaning on his sister Eyestash, especially now after Broken Stream's death, since originally Broken Stream was the den dad. He's overwhelmed being a single parent with so many kits, but he's doing his best. Also, the other clan cats kept bringing our lost kits back during streams, so I'm pretty sure it was some of the rowdy boys from this litter constantly just sneaking out of camp. But beyond that, he has continued to be a good clanmate, hunting and providing. And now onto the last cats currently in the clan. Our deputy, the 76 moon old Jackdaw Slash, and her daughter, the attention-seeking 3 moon old constantly climbing Pumpkin Kit. Earlier in the year, Jackdaw Slash was building up a clanmate's confidence in battle. Then she listened to stories about Midnight Lilac. She got Brave Paw as an apprentice, but admittedly, while she was a good mentor, the timing was really rough. Her daughter was just found dead on the Viper Clan border, leading her to be very hostile towards Viper Clan. And then she was unexpectedly made deputy, a goal that she had but wasn't expecting to actually achieve. And then she revealed that she was expecting another litter. Brave Paw was upset when she was expecting, but Jackdaw Slash trained her until the very end, with Brave Hal being named the moon after Pumpkin Kit was born, where Jackdaw Slash was there to give her a friendly nudge. She got annoyed with Red Noise, who refused to hunt a bird, even in Leaf Bear when half the clan was sick, and I can see Jackdaw Slash's perspective and frustrations, considering Gecko Dart ended up dying from that sickness. She also wanted to get to know Wishkeeper better as the other parent in the nursery right now. But yeah, I hope she isn't constantly mean to Viper Clan, and I hope we can smooth things over. I hope she does good as deputy, but we'll see. Again, she's mostly been in the nursery, so she hasn't really done much. But as for the cats outside the clan, starting with the 58 moon old Adderstripe, she quickly developed a crush on Cyndaquil, realizing that she felt a deep connection with him, and felt romance for like the first time ever, and they became mates. That would have been sweet if she wasn't such a bad cat. She found a lost Viper Clan apprentice and sent them back crying. And then she ate prey on patrol. She was caught after she murdered Cypress Bramble in cold blood, and then she was exiled by her mother. And I don't want to say she killed her niece Juniper Fur, but also Juniper Fur was the one kid of Gecko Darts that she had dislike for, and it would fit because I think Adderstripe's goal was to start a war. She seems to enjoy violence when she has an excuse for it, and I think she wanted more battles. I honestly don't know what to think of her. While in exile, she was enjoying putting her hunting skills to the test, so it doesn't even seem like she's having that hard of a time on her own. Side note, she also could have been the cat that mangled the Viper Clan cat's leg that hunted on her territory. I also don't think any other clan would want her. Otherwise, I would code her in as lost in someone's section. But she killed a J-Clan cat. She might have framed Viper Clan for murder. And Moss Clan isn't gonna want her. They have enough drama. But moving on to the 33-moon-old Luckshine, she had been keeping watch over the warriors at night and was training Drizzlepaw well until she ended up being kidnapped by Two Legs. Her brother was trying to find her, but to no success, and she has been missing for long enough that she has now gotten fixed. With the new update, I know I can specifically search for cats, and I hope we find her soon using that. She was such a sweet, loyal cat in Clan, and I just want her back. Also, the new update has pronouns now, so I can add her neo-pronouns and stuff. But taking a look at Pebblejoy, who is now 75 moons old, she actually came back to the clan and was worried others were judging her. Then she showed Stemglare some battle moves and tried to bond with her son. But then the next moon, she was immediately taken back by Two Legs, with Luckshine being taken too. And I think Pebblejoy had a tracker in her collar or something. I just didn't know. Luckshine isn't with her, so she was probably taken somewhere else. And I don't know if Pebblejoy showed up to join for good again, or if her original plan was just always just to visit for a little bit and then go back home. But it's sad Luckshine ended up kidnapped too. 4 is still around and alive, and Pebblejoy and him are still together. Now it's time for Bubbling Mark, who is 103 moons old. She had been wondering if she was good enough, and when Fawnpaw came to join the clan, Swansong asked Bubbling Mark to be his mate, again, I think more so in a co-parenting way. Not only did Bubbling Mark say no, she actually went and rejoined Moss Clan that moon. She was immediately faced with Sneezepaw, who looked just like Swansong, and made her uncomfortable, leading to her having the toxic thought of she wanted him exiled. Though I read that more as thinking he should go live with his dad in GalaxyClan. She seemed to enjoy being with her sister again at least, hunting with her and such. And she got an apprentice. She's generally well liked in Moss Clan, but she seems uneasy around the Swan Kits. And I think she's insecure and jealous over the cross-clan poly seemingly working and going really smoothly. None of them died this year, and they had even more kits. She did take her insecurities out on Sneezepaw, but regretted it and got some mediating between them done. She also saw Chocolate Chip updating her on things, but then Bubbling Mark got a crush on a cat named Rainmask. A one-sided crush that she seems to have obsessively clung to, having the thought that she couldn't imagine anyone else as her mate, which I read more as currently can't imagine, since Swansong asked her out and Chocolate Chip used to be mates with Midnight Lilac, but she just didn't feel romantic attraction until Rainmask, since the death of her boys. I hope she does better as time goes on and she continues going through things more healthfully. Girlie needs therapy. Also, Moss Clan had a badger attack, so that was probably traumatic after losing her boys. Her daughters did have a nice patrol of Moss Clan before Echo Whisper died, so I imagine she saw them and was on good terms, and she's really sad that she couldn't be there for Echo Whisper. And lastly, here's the 52-moon-old Wasp Mimic. He is originally excited for the thrill of a large-scale battle and was taking over Mistlestar's duties a lot. She spent so much of the year in her nest, like recovering or sick or something. But Wasp Mimic went on and on about a tiny incident on the border of ViperClan and JClan, annoying Frecklestar. Then a war started, and he insisted on speaking first at a gathering, making it very clear no peace could thrive between JClan and ViperClan. He got hurt while raiding, but still was doing duties. The injury ended up getting infected and then scarring. And then his old apprentice, Charon Strike, died to a dog, and his personality changed from bloodthirsty to cold. Also, his crush Draco died, but that was probably for the best. Draco is a secret killer after all, and probably not good. He's doing his best, and Mistlestar really isn't doing much to help. He also still has a sweet side, because he was recounting the gathering for the medicine cat, Crumpet, and her patients. Now for the other clan section, starting with the leaders. We have Rainbow Star now in GalaxyClan. Thunderstar has been having a hard year in Moss Clan. He kept ending up going on patrols with cats that ended up getting hurt, or one where someone caught a poisoned rabbit and then poisoned like a bunch of cats. Then the badger attack devastated the clan to the point that he ran away from the mass vigil in grief. He then declared war on ViperClan, and I think he was manipulated into doing so by JClan, who was also at war with ViperClan. He struggled with grief, and then he had 2 kits with Spirejoy, but sadly one of them died. He's not really doing good. But as for JClan, Mistlestar is a mess. She went to war with ViperClan and then lost a life from a claw wound from a hawk. She got white cough briefly and then repeatedly rejected a cat named Old Spot, only to later be rejected when Mistlestar asked out a cat named Shardfall. 2 warriors and 2 kits in the clan died during a ViperClan raid, though I've decided the kits were more accidental because that's kind of too horrible for me, and timeline-wise, I think accidental death makes more sense. Like a cave-in or something. And when on a solo patrol, Mistlestar couldn't contain her hostility against the ViperClan patrol, leading to that patrol snapping and taking one of her lives, with ViperClan later boasting about it at a gathering. Speaking of ViperClan, Frecklestar seems to be struggling with the truth of StarClan, and accidentally insulted her mate when stressed over it. She tried to taunt Missile Star at a gathering, but never got an opening, and then she snapped at a defiant apprentice, who later was killed by J-Clan, sparking the war, and she called out the warriors by name at a gathering. She was worried about Stone Star's health when Rainbow Flare led a gathering, and was offended when GalaxyClan blamed her clan for murder, but it seems we mostly smoothed things over. Mostly. She started raiding J-Clan after they raided her clan, and she had another litter of kits of Spruce Shadow. She did lose a life to Yellow Cough, though. Deputy-wise, we have Jackdaw Slash in GalaxyClan now, and in Moss Clan, Icy Pelt is struggling so much. She has had successes, such as training her apprentice, preventing cats from being washed away in a stream, and spending time with her sister. But she is stressed picking up where Thunderstar has been unable to do his duties, and she had a nightmare where the entire clan looked to her for what to do. I think she's scared of becoming leader and is really stressed. We already talked about Wasp Mimic and J-Clan, so moving on to Spruce Shadow and Viper Clan, she now has the permanently weak leg, and she asked her mate Frecklestar why StarClan ignores her, getting a tense answer in return. Then she got heat exhaustion, a J-Clan patrol openly mocked her, and then she was lost to a flash flood, but she was found in only one moon after Frecklestar rallied everyone to find her, taking her position back from the temporary Deputy Mothjoy. She brought GalaxyClan kits back, and as mentioned, she and Frecklestar have free kits now, though I checked the relations afterwards and noticed that she thought she had an omen from StarClan about one of them and doesn't like him, so that's a little concerning. Medicine cat-wise, GalaxyClan once again only has one medicine cat, but now it's an apprentice with Chestnut Paw. Moss Clan still has Minnie, Goose Lotus, and the newly named Tin Willow. Minnie has been silly but also concerned because Goose Lotus keeps having terrifying visions, including things like wails of grief, shaking stones, ache of an elder's bones, acidic scent, and unforeseen fire's heat, and near silent paw steps. All of those actually being said in-game. They just kept getting them. On a better note, they have a crush on both Minnie and Icy Pelt, and as for Tin Willow, he's still a bit angsty, pushing around apprentices and grumbling when cats ask for herbs for simple belly aches. But he seems to be doing well, except for when he caught Green Cough. J-Clan-wise, Elwhisker isn't here because he actually defected and joined Viper Clan as a warrior. Crumpet's still here, but seems to be struggling, snapping when Elwhisker noticed she was pushing herself, and later having a nightmare about the clan looking for her, for what to do. Side note, she may be distantly related to Chestnut Paw because they rolled to have the same hair, and both Alcyone and Crumpet were former rogues. Skip Fluff is a mess. She freaked out Crumpet by saying her vision meant death and destruction, and then she had a breakup with her mate. She insisted everyone ate chamomile at Moon High, which is normally a traveling herb for strength, and I think it was for the cats that were raiding. Then she was seen talking to a tree, so you know. And then meet Timmy. We invited him, and he's a flamboyant guy who just keeps getting drenched on patrol, but I love him. And in Viper Clan, we found Fire, who is a wandering healer, and he seems to get along with the deaf Mothjoy in clan, perhaps being fluent in sign himself. He was the donor for Freckle and Spruce's litter, but he actually has a crush on Spruce Shadow, but seems to be keeping that to himself. Swishgitter was thinking about life choices and seemed to be struggling a bit, but she's doing her best. Her apprentice graduated, and his name's Swamp Hopper, and he wondered if he did something wrong when he failed to talk to a StarClan cat, and he was busying himself with work to try to forget his sister's death. Also, these three were all bickering and stuff at different points. They also keep finding queens and babies. On to Mediators. Minnow Spirit got his full name, so it's him and Ice Dash in GalaxyClan. Moss Clan got a new mediator when Ashleap decided to ask if she could, and she's a compassionate cat, but she was grieving deeply for a while, but when better, she started mediating Bubbling Mark and Sneeze Tuft. She seems sweet. J-Clan finally has therapy, they believe now. Sadly, their mediator is over 160 moons old, and I fear how long he'll stay. Meet Salmon. He also has not actually mediated in-game yet, but he was seen racing through the camp, accidentally knocking into clanmates, so you know, he's doing great. Viper Clan still has Gorseglare and Berry Chase. Gorseglare is now a big brother. He failed a few mediations this year, and he actually has a crush on Swishgitter, the medicine cat, and Berry Chase has been shipping his sister with Gorse. He was also who brought Elwhisker, the former J-Clan medicine cat, to the clan, and he remembered breaking the code as an apprentice and getting away with it. But yeah, everyone has mediators for once. And yeah, that is year 24 of GalaxyClan, and we got hit hard this year. We are truly in a new generation now. Stone Star died, and Rainbow Star has taken over. Stone Star was the last cat that knew the old territory in the forest. We lost so many bloodlines this year, and it hurts. But I feel like it was inevitable. We just had so much death this year, though, and it was just so upsetting to read it all. Like I said, I joked that my computer died on me trying to prevent this from coming out and being canon. We also finally got our first 6-kit litter, though sadly 2 of them died. And we had a kitten boom purely because of the 2 huge litters this year. Next year is the first year I am officially playing in 2025, and I'm looking forward to the new update. And while I am happy for conditions being in the game, one of the reasons GalaxyClan was originally on Classic mode was that I was trying to avoid having to deal with cats being injured at the end of the year, because I don't know if they'll end up being unscarred or if they'll lose a leg until it actually tells me in-game. So I don't really know how bandaged and wrapped up I need to make them. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm excited to play more GalaxyClan. It's been so long since I actually got to play this year, since that was way back in October. Side note, I plan on making some Year of the Snake themed designs for my Redbubble with GalaxyClan cats that either have snake names like Snake Eye, Adder Stripe, are related to Viper Clan like Midnight Lilac and Ragged, or Flame Bear. My idea is to have them be like red and gold to be more Lunar New Year themed, and I hope to have those up at Lunar New Year, which I think is January 29th. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to another real-life year of GalaxyClan. Side note, I have been sick since like December 15th, and it is still slightly here. I had to cut out a lot of coughing and sneezing. But yeah, check out the links below, including the Discord, and I will see you next time. Peace!